Welcome yogis, Jacqueline here for our yoga exploration practice. Today's practice is just a really simple yoga sequence designed to help calm us, both body and mind. So this sequence is actually going to start standing up. And if you joined our moments of mindfulness today, I'm going to bring in that same quote to inspire us as we move. And so this quote, it comes from Carolyn Kinmore. And she says that if you can learn from hard knocks, you can also learn from soft touches. And so in moments of mindfulness, we kind of explored what that would look like with our breath. This is a great opportunity to explore with our body. And so what I mean by that is your practice doesn't have to be so harsh and aggressive. I really encourage today that you approach it with a sense of softness and lightness. So since we're standing up, we're going to begin by tuning into our breath. And we're just going to connect our breath and movement for a simple way to do that. So I want you to find a really comfortable, stable spot on your mat. We typically will call this our mountain pose. Sometimes we also refer to it as samastitihi. And so it might be that your big toes are touching. Your feet might be hip distance apart. You could rock back and forth, heel toe, just to find that nice place of support. We're kind of grounding into the four corners of our feet here. And then even if you are a bit flat-footed, just imagine lifting from the arches here, and that starts to kind of activate the muscles of our legs here. So the kneecaps are lifting a little bit. Our upper leg muscles are really strong and active. Your hips are neutral, so try to not overarch in your lower back. Now that your lower body is set, we're going to move the arms to connect with our breath. Let's start with the hands at the chest. And so one complete breath here. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in now, we're going to take our arms and lift them up overhead. Your arms could go out to a high V. The palms might come all the way to where they're touching. It's totally up to you here. As you breathe out, you're going to bring the hands back down to the heart. We'll do that a few more times. Inhaling the arms up. And exhaling back to the heart. We'll do 3 more. Again, see how you can approach the practice with softness. Last one. Coming into a side bend now, reaching the arms overhead. We're going to grab onto our right hand, right wrist, right elbow, wherever you comfortably can. And then you're going to stretch just up a little bit and then over to the left. So again, we don't want to force it. Don't want it to feel so harsh. Every pose still is active, but there's also this element of softness, more so with our intent and our approach. Breathing here, notice your lower body. Are you sinking into it? Does it feel maybe a little weak? Can you get really strong, pressing into the feet, engaging those muscles of the legs? And then notice how that can help to just give you more space, more support. We're going to come up and switch sides here. So grabbing onto the left wrist, left hand, left elbow, wherever you like. I like to lift up a little bit just to lengthen the side, and then stretching now to the right. Breathing here. And even noticing in the stretch, how far are you going? Are you going to the place where it starts to become a hard knock pose? Can you pull it back just a little bit so that you can experience a bit more softness? Remember, the purpose of this practice is to create calmness in both our body and mind. And it's much easier to do that when we're not approaching the practice in such an aggressive way. Coming back up, we're going to fold forward. If your feet are close together, maybe widen them a bit. You're going to hinge from the hips and reach for your elbows as you fold. We call this the ragdoll pose. So there's a slight bend in your knees. And you're working to get the chest to almost kind of prop up on the upper legs. You don't want to force it if you're not quite there yet, but just know that this is a good pose to bend the knees and give yourself the support that you need. Notice your neck here. Your chin might slightly tuck in. Breathe. Where can you find softness in the body? Where can you relax? From there, lowering the hands to the ground. You might lift up about halfway with your head. We're going to step our left foot back and kind of angle the foot so that our toes are pointing towards the corner of the mat. The heel is more to the center. That right foot might step up, might stay where it is. We're coming into our warrior one. It might be aligned that your heels are in a row. That can be a bit more challenging, so maybe think of having more of that railroad track line up here. A lane for each foot, if you will. And when you feel pretty strong in your legs here, I want you to stand up. You're bending your front knee. That front leg is there to support you if you need. And let's take our hands up overhead. In this pose, we are aiming to get the hips facing forward. And so that's another reason I recommend widening the distance between the feet. If it feels really crunched or uncomfortable in your hips, taking the feet more to the edges is going to give you a little more space. And that's going to help you to pivot more to the front of the mat, really giving you that warrior one shape. Also want you to be aware of that pinky edge of your back leg here and just kind of pressing actively down through it. It's going to get that back leg to be a lot stronger and take some pressure off of that front one. Arms are overhead here as you breathe. And then from this warrior one pose, we're going to be transitioning, turning all of our toes to this longer edge of our mat. The arms can come out to a T, and just make sure that you are lined up in a way that feels supportive to you. I typically recommend that you want your ankles to be underneath where your wrists are. And I think for each person's height, that tends to work pretty well. From here, we're going to do a twist. So this right hand is going to come towards our left foot. Now don't force it if it can't quite get there. You can be more in the center. And then that left arm is lifting back and up. Breathe here, and the position of your head is really up to what feels most comfortable in your neck. You might look towards the back hand. You might stay more in a neutral position, or if you feel really off balance, you could look towards the floor. So let's take a couple more breaths here. And then lowering that left hand to the ground, I want you to reach your arms forward, almost like you were creating a downward dog shape in your upper body. So your feet are still in a straddle, but your hands reach forward to give you a little more length in your spine. Breathing here. We're going to bring our hands towards our right foot. As we do so, turning back to face that short edge of the mat. We'll step our left foot up to the right and find our forward fold. Letting the feet maybe be a little wider here. Bending the knees, we hold our elbows. And work on creating softness here. Maybe that focus is in the body, but you can also, like we did in our moments of mindfulness, Let that softness be with your breath. Let's do the other side. Releasing your hands to the ground, lifting up a bit with your head. You're going to step your right foot back, spinning the heel in towards the center of the mat with the toes out. That back foot might be at an angle similar to 45 degrees. You're bending your left knee, and the alignment of your feet is up to you. They could be lined up like on a tightrope or lined up wide like railroad tracks. When you feel ready, you're going to stand up. Into this pose, we take the hands up. It's our warrior one. We're working to get those hips to face the front edge of the mat here. Adjust your feet if you need. Notice your breathing. Get really strong in your legs. Couple more breaths. Coming out, we're going to extend our legs, turning all toes to this long edge of our mat, our arms extending to a T. So we're twisting like we did last time. This one, it's your left hand coming towards the right foot and the right hand up towards the ceiling. You could even reach to your leg here if you prefer. Remember, there's always the option to use props in your practice. If you're a little unsure of what to use or how to use them, you can always reach out to me. That's one of the big benefits of private yoga. So we really get to dive in deeper into our own personal practice. Now, bringing your right hand to the mat, I'm going to turn to the side just to give you a good visualization of what this pose looks like. From your forward fold with both hands at the ground, your arms are going to reach forward so that it's similar to downward dog in your upper body, but your lower body is still in that straddle. Breathing here, it's a really good pose to stretch out our spine. I just want to re-emphasize finding softness here. And to come out, you'll bring your hands towards your left foot, making your way back to a forward fold. Holding onto our opposite elbows here. And then from this forward fold, let's go into a tabletop pose. So we'll bring our hands down, stepping our feet back and coming onto our knees. Catching your breath. Adjusting the body. So I typically recommend bone on bone alignment in poses like this. Shoulders over wrist, hips over knees. Take precautions if you need. We're going to sit our hips back towards our heels, finding a child's pose, forehead towards the floor. Coming back up to a tabletop, and as you breathe in, letting the belly drop to the floor. Your tailbone will tilt up and your head's going to lift up. Cow pose. As you breathe out, tilt your tailbone down, start to round into your upper back and tuck in your chin. Cat pose. And then as you breathe in, come back to a tabletop. As you breathe out, sit your hips back for child's pose. And we're going to do that for a few rounds. So you're going to come up into cow. Inhaling to arch. Exhale to cat, rounding your back. Inhale to a tabletop, finding a neutral spine. And exhale, take your child's pose. Do that maybe 2 or 3 more times. Remember to not move in such a harsh or intense way. Finding softness here. And as you're finishing up that last time, you can just stay in the child's pose. Breathing here. Noticing how this approach of softness to our practice helps us to cultivate a calmer body and mind. In your child's pose, start to find your way to a sitting position. We're going to bring our legs straight out in front of us for that. Now, I want you to really pay attention and just be honest with yourself here and what your posture is like. Keep in mind, for me, I've been teaching yoga for many years now, so a pose like this can come pretty easy. If it's not easy for you, or if it is uncomfortable, or if it doesn't feel good, for whatever reason, if when you sit with your legs fully extended, you can't have an upright back, I strongly, strongly encourage sitting on something, whether that's a blanket, a pillow, something to elevate your hips. And whenever you do that, it's going to give you more space to sit upright. And I think that's going to be one of the best benefits you can get here, especially with this first variation of this pose that we're going to do. And that's really just talking about the upper body. For many of us, our legs, especially the back of our legs, tend to be pretty tight. So also bending the knees is going to be nice, and that might help you with your posture also. So whatever props you need, whatever you need to grab to sit up really tall in your back, I want you to do that. Your legs are extended out, your feet are flexed so that the toes are pointing straight up. And then you're going to reach your hands up over your head. Now, this might also be a little beyond your mobility. It looks simple, but it does take a lot of flexibility to bring the arms in line with our ears. So your arms could be further out here like a high V. Even if you can bring the arms up, maybe try a little wider. You might find it just feels better for you. Notice your posture, the crown of your head lifts, the arms kind of helping to lift your spine here. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, let's fold forward, reaching down to the legs and holding wherever you easily can. Softness here in your approach, in your body, and in your breath. Like Carolyn Kenmore said, if you can learn from hard knocks, you can also learn from soft touches. From here, we're going to slowly sit up. You might need to scoot forward. We'll move onto our back. Keeping your knees bent as you recline. Your arms be out by your side, either in a T or a low V. And I like to lift the chest slightly and just kind of tuck the shoulder blades underneath my back. Let's twist, bringing both knees over towards the right side of the mat. And I really encourage you to do what feels good for you here. You might reach towards your knee. You might bring the knees closer to you. There's all kinds of things we can do to change the intensity of the pose. You know your body best, so take a moment, explore. But remember to maintain the element of softness. And we'll take about 3 deep breaths here. When you're ready, repeat the stretch to the other side. Set yourself up in a way that feels good and is supportive to you. And also in a way that allows you to experience softness. 3 deep breaths. As you finish, you bring your knees back to the center. And actually hug our knees up towards our chest. And just to touch on our lower back. One hand on each knee. You're going to pull the knees in as close as you can to the body. And as you breathe out, pressing the knees away from you, try to stack them over the hips now. And then squeezing the knees back in. And pressing your knees away. Just kind of massage in that lower back area. Do that a couple more times. And then you can start to find a Shavasana pose or our corpse pose. If your lower back does feel a little funky today, you could always keep your knees bent, having your feet flat with maybe the knees coming together. If it feels okay, you might just extend out all the way. And of course, if you want to prop up here, you can. The invitation is simple. I invite you to close your eyes. To settle in. And to take this time for resting both body and mind. Feeling both calm and relaxed at the end of your practice. want you to take in a deep breath. Breathe slowly out, taking your time to reawaken. Begin to transition to a comfortable seat. Once again, our quote from Carolyn Kenmore, she said, "If you can learn from hard knocks, you can also learn from soft touches." I invite you to bring your palms together at the heart to seal our practice today. Thank you for spending this time on the mat with me. Blessings and namaste.